Welcome to this new Football Manager 2018 experiment, where I'm doing something a little bit different today. It is a World Cup themed experiment, just like my last few experiments. However, it's not the usual structure of a World Cup. As you probably will have gathered from, firstly, the thumbnail and also the video title, this World Cup happens to have 225 nations in it. It's a long World Cup with all of the nations that are loadable on Football Manager 2018. This is part one of the experiment. There's going to be 3 parts in total because I'm going to simulate this particular World Cup 3 times. Before we get started with this experiment, I just want to make it abundantly clear I did not create this database. This database was created by this person, Mom Spaghetti. It's on the Steam Workshop. You can find the link to it in the description below of this video, and you can then subscribe to it on the Steam Workshop. If you've got Football Manager 2018, then obviously it will work. If you don't, then you need to get Football Manager 2018. And also there is a link to the file if you'd prefer to download it rather than using the Steam Workshop. I'd also like to give a shout out to this chap, Mr. Mask TV. I'll put a link to his channel in the description below for the simple reason he's already done this. He's done a 225 team World Cup Football Manager experiment. He's made quite a few experiments lately, so maybe go and check him out. If you like my experiments, then you'll probably like him as well. He is the one that drew my attention to this database, so big thank you to him as well. But I thought, well, why not? Why can't I also do an experiment on this and see who wins it in my simulations? So this is the long World Cup then. This is the first round, and actually the top half of the table actually qualifies for the second round. As you can see, it's currently July 2017, so it's the start of the 2017-18 season. And the whole World Cup goes for the entirety of the season, starting with this first round. There's quite a few rounds, which I'll show you at the end of the first simulation, of course. But in each group, there tends to be a strong team. For example, in Group C, we've got Italy, and then there's a lot of weaker nations. Ukraine are also in the same group, so there's kind of like a second team in there as well. But the top half will qualify from the group anyway, so we will have some weaker nations going through to the next round. We've got France in Group G, for example. I think this is fascinating. A great idea. It's been done a few times over the years on Football Manager. A lot of work has been put into this. More work than my databases that I've made, that's for sure. This obviously took a lot of time, and the guy that made this has just made it for fun, really, to give people the opportunity to play a really long World Cup with every single nation. I mean, you could manage North Korea and try and go all the way and win the World Cup in the end. There's lots of group stages as well, as you'll find out as we progress through this. But I'm going to simulate till the end of the World Cup. I'm going to try and sort of make sure I don't give the winner away. So I'll probably hide a few things on the screen so you can't see until the very end who actually wins the World Cup. So I've simulated until the end of the season, and I've hidden at the top with that black box the winners of the World Cup so we can go through this without having the result spoiled right at the start. In this part 1, we're just going to look at this first simulation. Parts 2 and 3, we'll do separate simulations for them as well. If you enjoy the concept, if you enjoy this video, it'd be much appreciated if you could hit that like button. Anyway, looking at the first round then, there's not going to be any shocks in here, I don't think. I mean, it's brilliant that India have just about sneaked through to the next round by finishing 8th there, 20 points, 3 ahead of Botswana. Poor Bhutan, 1 draw. They lost minus 81 goal difference from 14 games. That is pretty shocking, isn't it? That is. I want to look at their results actually, just to see. Can we go back in time? Look at that. Dreadful. They score. Who did they score against? They drew the first game 3-3. So they were thinking, oh, this is encouraging. We've got a 3-3 draw against Barbados. We're going to go all the way. Hat trick from Chencho. Let's have a look at him. Yeah. By the way, I have loaded every single nation, so I've loaded all the international players from each of the nation, each 225 nation. So it's a big old database. I've loaded like 200,000 players or something, so it did take a little bit of time to holiday compared to normal, but it's worth it because we're going to have the most authentic experience here. But look at all those defeats. 12-0 defeat to South Africa. 11. South Africa actually beat them. Oh, sorry, Algeria. Algeria beat them 12-0. South Africa beat them 10-0. Croatia beat them 11-0. 23 goals in those 3 games in a row. Poor old Bhutan. Bit unfortunate for them, but they obviously were the weakest team in that group, with St. Martin managing to get 1 win, which was against Bhutan, of course. Gibraltar, a credible 12th place, 11 points, not too bad from them. Group B, we saw Belgium dominate. They actually lost one game. I won't go and look at their fixtures because it will give away the next rounds. But yeah, they actually, I suppose they could have lost against Slovenia or Turkey. There are some strong teams in that group actually. South Korea down in 7th place, well below Mozambique, for example. So that seems like a bit of a stronger group, Group B. But Belgium easily managed to win it with Jamaica only 3 points behind. Jamaica, Slovenia and Mozambique only 3 points behind. I suppose the bottom half of the table was easily beaten by those nations. Spain, top group C. I just noticed Spain and Italy in the same group with Ukraine. Myanmar just about qualified, 1 point ahead of Guam, but unlucky there. Tonga did pick up 3 points. We've not seen 0 points yet. Will we see 0 points at some point? Group D, Portugal easily ran away with it. They only lost one game and won every single other game. Wallace and Futuna picked up 1 point, but they escaped from being the only team to finish with 0 points. Scotland qualified in 7th place. Not the greatest performance from them, but they go through to the next round nevertheless. Group E, Costa Rica finish ahead of Holland to top the group. I don't know if the position here accounts for who you take on in the second round. I have no idea. We'll have a look in a second at the second round matches. Swaziland picked up 2 points, Pakistan 4. In Group F, Czech Republic topped the group ahead of Uruguay on goal difference. Quite clearly on goal difference actually, but Colombia also went through, so that was quite a strong group with those 3 nations in there. 0 points! We've got it. 0 points. Oh, poor them. Dreadful. They did score a couple goals, 3 goals in total in fact, and they didn't lose by more than 7-0. They lost 7-0 twice. In fact, against... Where's Czech Republic then? Where is Czech Republic? There they are. They scored against Czech Republic. This chap scored. Lee Kahim. Look, 1 on finishing. Oh, he is a fullback to be fair. He's got decent physicals. Everything else is pretty shocking. But, you know, they managed to score 3 goals. They did finish on 0 points though, which is quite hilarious really, thinking about it. From 14 games. I suppose it is only 14 games. If it was 30 games, then that really would be terrible, wouldn't it? Group G, Cook Islands finished bottom with 3 points. Germany won 13 and drew 1. I think the only team so far to go unbeaten, possibly. Let me just scroll up. No, Spain went unbeaten. Spain and Germany unbeaten in the group stage, first round group stage so far. Senegal, Argentina down in 3rd place below. France. I didn't even know France and Germany were in the same group. I overlooked that. But France down in 4th place. Not great from them. I assume they're 1 defeat. Well, it must have been against Germany, in fact. Germany, Senegal and France all lost 1 game. And they lost against... Sorry, Senegal, Argentina and France all lost against Germany. There we go, spitting my words out. Group H, Ecuador topped Group H with Bosnia and Egypt. So maybe it is random because Germany, Argentina and France in that group is obviously a stronger group than Group H, which has Ecuador, Bosnia and Egypt in it. Kosovo also went through. US Virgin Islands, 0 points, minus 49 goal difference. Let's have a look. They did score a few goals. They lost 4. They scored against Ecuador. Dusty Labrada, what a name. Excellent stuff. He looks pretty poor, but he doesn't have any ones, which is good news for him, I think. This chap also managed to score for the US Virgin Islands. 12 on dribbling. Bit of the Messi of the Virgin Islands, I suppose. He is. Oh, I could look at this for days. It's just fantastic. Where was I? Where's the Virgin Islands? There they are. 0 points. Group I then. Finland finished above England. England bottle it. They lost 1 game and drew 1. I think maybe they drew against Northern Ireland or something. I don't want to look at the results because it will give away how far they progressed. Doesn't matter if we look at the rubbish teams. San Marino picked up 13 points. They actually won games, which is great. Look at the manager, by the way. Hilarious. Yeah, they actually beat St Martin 3-0. And they also beat Cambodia 3-1 and Guyana 1-0. Great stuff. They lost 6-2 against England, but they scored. I want to have a look. Oh, I can't see. We can't have it. We can see the goal scorers. We can't go and click on it because it's not being able to. If it was to save every single game, I suppose the save file would be absolutely massive. But Kane scored a hat-trick. Wilshere scored. Dele Alli scored. Goals from this chap and Filippo Berardi. They've got some okay players. This guy's actually quite good. 21 years old. He's a good player. Moving on down then to Group J, which was won by Gabon, ahead of Greece. and Wales, who also went through. Georgia managed to qualify in 8th place. Malaysia 4 points, bottom of the group. They did get a win though. Morocco topped Group K ahead of USA on goal difference. Oh, maybe head-to-heads. It must be down to head-to-heads rather than goal difference, according to these rules. I suppose the chap that made this decided that those would be the rules of the competition. Hungary miss out. Wow, I mean, it's quite a strong group. There's some decent teams in there, but they finished below Comoros. That is astonishing. Hungary. That's the biggest shock so far. I know Hungary aren't the 1950s Hungary anymore, but that is a shock. North Korea and Trinidad and Tobago miss out. I mean, I suppose this was a tough group compared to others. There's a lot of good teams in there. So I don't know how random this was. I mean, we've seen Antigua and Barbuda go through from Group I, for example, and we've now seen Hungary get knocked out. I think Faroe Islands could have qualified from some of these groups, if I'm honest. Group L was won convincingly by Chile, with Slovakia going through. Panama missed out. A team that's qualified for the real World Cup has been knocked out in the first round, and we've got loads of rounds to go, by the way. Get a cup of tea and a biscuit, guys. This is a long video. It's a long World Cup, but I hope you're enjoying it so far. Panama down in 9th place. You might need more than a biscuit. You might need a whole cheesecake, to be honest. Group M, Brazil top the group, 39 points, as you would expect. But they did lose a game. Austria in 2nd. We've not seen anyone get maximum points yet, have we? We haven't seen anyone win every single match. Denmark and Norway went through from Group N, 2 Nordic nations qualifying. Liechtenstein miss out, as do Andorra. But Kenya qualified with 23 points, just ahead of Burundi. Nice stuff from them. I'm not sure what the worst goal difference is yet. I might go back and have a look at that. Sweden topped Group O, with Peru also going through on 37 points. Curacao, heroes of one of my recent experiments. Go and check out my other experiments if you haven't done so already. Just about sneaking through ahead of Malawi. Haiti as well. That's very impressive from them. With Iran, Saudi Arabia, Gambia. There's only one team that got 0 points, I think. I'm not sure what the worst goal difference was. I think it's probably Bhutan with a -81. I don't think I've seen any worse than that. Let's just quickly scroll down. -79 for Wallis and Futuna. -48. Oh no, this is the worst. Cook Islands did get a win, but -98. They conceded 101 goals in 14 games. Let me just double check that is the worst, and then we'll go and have a look at their fixtures, because that is hilariously bad. -98. They're lucky they scored 3 goals, because they could have ended up with -100. That is absolutely brilliant. They lost 10. I mean, this was a tough group, to be fair. They lost 10-0 to Germany. Müller and Draxler with hat-tricks. They lost 14-0 to Argentina. Aguero scored 8 goals against them. Poor Cook Islands. I think in real life you'd have bigger scorelines though, because remember Australia, didn't they win 32-0 against American Samoa a few years ago? 18-0 to France. That's the big. Griezmann, look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. A triple hat-trick for Griezmann against Cook Islands. This is fantastic stuff. I love this database. You wouldn't get this otherwise at a World Cup, of course. 18-0. But they beat Hong Kong 3-0. Jonathan Best, great name, with the winner. He's got a lot of 8s and 9s. He doesn't look too bad, to be fair. And Nguyen Tangapiri also. I suppose they're not going to have 1s, because these are just randomised, I think, these ratings. They will be real players, I think, because I did load them. They're not regens or anything. They might be greyed out players, to be fair. Cook Islands. Do they actually have any real? Yeah, they've only got 1. Is he a real player? I just don't have a picture for him. I don't know. But I did load every nation, but some nations just won't have any players on the game. So I think they're probably all greyed out players, so they've been randomised. They do have players, apparently. Yeah, here they are. They're just not in the national team at the moment for some reason. Wow, that is excellent. Anyway, we need to go on to the second round now. So the second round is also a group stage thing. There's a lot of group stages in this. Group A, as you can see, consisted of France and Brazil. Turkey knocked out at this point. So 9 games played. Tanzania only end up with 3 points. They drew 3 games, but it wasn't good enough. France topped the group ahead of Ghana, with Brazil disappointing 3rd place, but they qualified. That's the main thing. Chile went through from Group B. didn't lose a single game, 25 points. Portugal second, England all the way down in sixth. They finished below Angola and China. What is up with them there? Australia sneak through ahead of rivals New Zealand. That's quite a tough group, but what an achievement for Angola and China to finish ahead of England and Australia. Estonia only managed to muster 4 draws. Norway topped Group C ahead of Italy on, I assume, head-to-head. Paraguay then third, and Argentina down in 4th place. Real team, Saudi Arabia, as in a real nation that qualified for the World Cup, finished in 7th and failed to qualify. Our old friends Curacao, though, finished bottom of the group. They weren't good enough there. In Group D, Morocco topped the group, with Jamaica, Denmark, Congo, Wales, Tunisia and Mozambique also going through. South Africa miss out. India do get a win, but unfortunately finished bottom of the group. Who did they beat then? Let's have a look to see. In the second round, they beat South Africa 1-0. They lost 7-0 against Denmark, I'm afraid. They weren't good enough at this point. Moving on to Group E. Russia topped the group, ahead of Japan. Uzbekistan qualified. Holland get knocked out. The Netherlands, what are you doing? You have failed miserably in my recent experiments. You have let your nation down. Really have. What is going on? Disastrous stuff. They beat El Salvador 2-0 and Antigua and Barbados only 1-0 thanks to a goal from Bas Dost. Other than that, shocking stuff. Absolutely shocking. And it's not the easiest group, I know, but they lost 2-0 against Uzbekistan after a red card. That is truly dreadful. So that is a massive shock, them getting knocked out at this point. There's a lot of rounds to go, by the way. Look at it. So they've not been knocked out in the second round. Egypt top Group F, with Sweden going through as well. Belarus, Libya and Malta knocked out at this point. Haiti doing really well, by the way, to go through. Group G, Austria top the group. Cyprus and Nicaragua knocked out. I think there's some sort of playoff system as well. So I'm assuming Holland would have been knocked out in the playoffs. That's quite fun, actually. So it's not just about group matches. Wait, let's go back. Where's Holland? Where are they? There they are. Did they play a playoff? No. Maybe it's done on points. It might be the best placed 7th and 8th teams or something. Because which group was it? Group G, an 8th place team went through. But with Holland, they didn't go through. So it might be that they got 8 points and the 8th best... 11 points. See, that's why. So it's something to do with the best 7th and 8th place teams go through, depending on points and stuff. Group H then was won by Colombia. We see Oman and Belize get knocked out. 0 points, minus 41 goal difference. They qualified for the second round, but you know everyone was just too strong for them at this point. Minus 41 from 9 games is not good, is it? They lost 8-0 against Czech Republic. They did score against Sudan and Oman, but it obviously wasn't good enough. Group I, Spain comfortably went through. They lost 2 games, but they picked up 21 points. Kenya, Zimbabwe, Switzerland knocked out. This is another big shock. It is quite a tough group, to be fair, but Finland finishing above Switzerland's a bit of a surprise, really. Poor from Switzerland. They beat Zimbabwe and Comoros, but 4-0 defeat against Costa Rica is not good, is it? 3-3 draw against Finland, cracking game, but yeah, poor from Switzerland. Mali topped Group J, head of Iceland, who went through. Madagascar, Qatar, Bolivia and French Guinea go out. Belgium easily topped Group K, going unbeaten with 23 points. Scotland are knocked out, along with Slovakia. Some strong teams in this group, though, to be fair. Uganda probably the weakest link, finishing bottom, and they're certainly not a terrible team. But Scotland, with Alex McLeish in charge. I wonder, like, the manager movements must be crazy as well, because it's a regular season, isn't it? Just obviously with a loss of games. I mean, Scotland knocked out in the second round, still played quite a few matches, didn't they? We're also going to end up with players having a huge number of caps come the end of the season. We'll have to have a look at some individual players at the end to see how many caps they actually have. But yeah, that's not great from Scotland getting knocked out at that stage. I mean, they were lucky to get through from the first round, weren't they? Group L was won by Germany. No massive shocks there. Germany have done well to get through to the third round. This is the third round then, so another group stage. I don't know if it's group stages for everything. I'm not sure if there's any knockout rounds at some point. But Chile topped Group A, USA, Russia and Jamaica going through, so Czech Republic missing out that time around. just about getting knocked out. Senegal, Greece, El Salvador going through. Excellent stuff from them. And Guinea. Morocco, Wales, Japan. Miss out. Morocco and Japan, two real World Cup nations, losing out to the likes of Greece, El Salvador and Guinea, who aren't World Cup nations, of course. Group C, Croatia, Austria, Algeria and Paraguay go through. Burkina Faso have been quite impressive in some of my experiments. They're knocked out at this point. Australia, another real World Cup nation, falling at the third round. In Group D, Bosnia and Venezuela finish ahead of Belgium. That is a shock, but they do go through. Sweden and Denmark, real World Cup nations, knocked out. That's a tough group, though. Somehow, China have topped Group E. What is going on with China? Is it because they've got 1.4 billion people to call upon, and all the other nations are knackered by this point, and they're down to sort of the dregs or something, and China has, cloned a few players, or I don't know. China are doing brilliant. They didn't lose a single game, so they obviously beat Spain, or drew against them at least. That's very impressive. Group F, won by Brazil ahead of Norway. Montenegro and Iran also going through. In Group G, Italy topped the group. Peru, a real World Cup nation, getting knocked out there. France topped Group H. Iceland marched through as well, with Honduras, Cameroon, Finland and Ivory Coast getting knocked out. That's quite a tough mix of teams, actually. Ukraine finished ahead of Argentina and England. Haiti's journey finally ends. They did fabulously well. Another brilliant manager. Great hair, mad scientist hair. But let's have a look at this then. What a brilliant adventure for them to get this far. They actually managed to beat Malta 3-0, Belarus and Togo in the third. Oh, that's the second round. Where's the third? Oh, the third round's here. Sorry, that was in the second round. In the third round, they didn't actually win a game, did they? They got 3 draws. But still, that's not bad going really for them, is it? And the last group, Poland, Uruguay, Portugal and Germany, only just about sneak through. I assume on head-to-head. It could be goal difference, but I assume it's head-to-head still over Mali. And the real World Cup nation, Egypt, knocked out at this stage. But that is a tough group, let's be honest. But Germany really struggling to get through. They were almost knocked out. If they are to go on to the latter stages, they're going to see this as a massive moment, because they only just about sneak through round 3. That could have been a major shock. In the fourth round, of course, we could see massive differences in the second and third simulations that I'm going to do in parts 2 and 3 of this series. So, we're on to the fourth round. We're now down to normal-sized World Cup groups, 4 in each group. Poland and Colombia sneak through ahead of Montenegro. Jamaica topped Group B ahead of Belgium, who just about finished ahead of Mexico. I assume that's on head-to-head, because they scored less goals and had the same goal difference. Venezuela and Bosnia then went through from Group C, with Russia. China's journey finally ended, by the way. They had a marvellous time with Wang in charge of the nation. I mean, excellent results. They beat England 1-0, remember? Well, remember? You haven't seen that before. They beat England 1-0. Gao Lin with the goal. Excellent. And, of course, they went through the second round. They beat New Zealand and Estonia to get through. And then in the third round, they had a wonderful time, because they actually did beat Spain in the end. Of course, they went unbeaten in round 3. I don't know how, but Wu Li scored a penalty to get a win against Spain, and of course they went through top of the group. But in the round 4, they weren't strong enough to beat Venezuela, Ghana and Bosnia, which is a surprise considering how well they did against other nations previously. Russia and Ukraine went through from Group D. Austria's impressive run ended, as is Greece's. Germany back to their best. They didn't win every game, but they went through top of Group H with Croatia. Norway have done pretty well, actually. Unfortunate to be put in a very tough group and finish bottom of that group, with USA going out in round 4 as well. Group F, Italy topped the group. If Iceland went all the way, that would be amazing. Serbia and Chile miss out. France topped Group G, with Senegal also going through. Iran, another real World Cup nation, getting knocked out at this stage. Argentina and Paraguay finish ahead of Spain. Spain knocked out in round 4, one of the favourites for the World Cup in real life, and surely one of the favourites for this competition, knocked out in the 4th round. Roberto Martinez, by the way, is in charge of them, so he must have been sacked by Belgium, or they decided he might have resigned and gone to Spain, or Spain could have nicked him, I suppose, after a few bad games. So Roberto Martinez in charge of Spain. This is just so... you could look at this for hours. It's just so much fascinating stuff. Obviously, they went unbeaten until December, and somehow How did they lose this game? It's ridiculous in the second round and against Finland. Third round, they did struggle, of course. They lost against China. And they then in the fourth round, they lost against Paraguay. And they lost against Argentina. They only beat Slovenia. And they were knocked out. What a shock. Two more groups. Algeria and Israel. Brazil knocked out of the World Cup by Algeria and Israel of all teams. What is going on there? They'd hardly lost a game. They lost against Australia and Ghana. And then in the third round, they lost against Iran, which obviously is a major shock. But then a win against Nigeria in the fourth round. Great start. But a 2-1 defeat to Israel after Casemiro got sent off. And a 2-2 draw to Algeria sends them out of the World Cup early. This is fantastic. I'm loving this. And England also through with Portugal. So England, no problem for them in Group J. So we're on to the fifth round, which I think is a knockout stage. It is. Germany had an easy task of beating Israel to get through to the next round. Sane and Kroos with the goals. Now remember, these teams are going to use huge number of players. It's not like they have to select 23 players for the whole tournament. I think they can just call upon loads of players throughout the season. So the number of players featured in this World Cup must be incredible, really. Italy beat Venezuela 2-0. We saw Russia beat Portugal 1-0 thanks to a goal from Tolisso. France beat Portugal. Oh, I'm getting muddled up. I've been speaking for a long time now. Russia beat Bosnia. Can't see that one. Belgium beat Paraguay. We can see this one. Croatia 4, Argentina 4. Hat-trick from Higuain. Crazy game that Argentina managed to win on penalties. Iceland beat Jamaica 1-0. Colombia beat Algeria 3-2. England won on penalties against Ukraine, which we can't see. England winning on penalties. And Poland beat Senegal 2-1. To go through to the sixth round, which is a league table, and England and Germany finish top and go through to a dramatic World Cup final. England versus Germany in the World Cup final. This is amazing. And it's after, that many games, after 9 games in the group stage. Senegal bottom, Belgium surprisingly in second from bottom, with Iceland just above them on goal difference. Russia, Argentina, Colombia, France, Italy. Of course, we're missing Brazil, we're missing Spain, we're missing some big teams in there. Italy, a team that didn't even qualify for the World Cup in real life, finished third, just behind Germany and England. So this is the moment of truth, guys. We're going to see the final now between England and Germany. What was the result? Let's find out. Germany 4, England 1, played in Portugal. What a game. What a win for Germany. Sane, man of the match. He's not even been called up for the real World Cup, of course. Incredible stuff. Boateng opened the scoring. Müller scored a second. Werner made it 3. Kane gave England a little bit of hope with a 74th minute goal, but Werner killed it off in the 82nd minute. Bad stuff from the defence and the goalkeeper for England. Not a great performance all round, really, to lose 4-1. They went all that way to lose against Germany in the final 4-1. So many games played. If we just have a look at the adventure, the German adventure, look at this. But remember, Germany almost lost in the third round. They were almost knocked out in the third round. If they hadn't beat Egypt 1-0, they'd have been out there. But the Germans come back, don't they? They come back strong. And as you can see, pretty impressive run in. They lost against Belgium. They lost against England and Croatia. I mean, they lost against England in the sixth round, but went on to beat them in the final, of course. That's when it counts. So yeah, amazing stuff. Looking at the team, it's huge because that's how many players they've used recently. There might be more than that. They might have used a lot more German players than that. Neuer's now on 112 caps, by the way. If we just look, Thomas Müller's on 129, Ozil on 120, because they've played so many games this season. I don't know if we can see. It doesn't actually show. I mean, he didn't play for Arsenal at all. Just to reiterate, I haven't loaded this, but it does. It still has the leagues, but I assume they're playing players that just aren't playing international football. It's ended up with Liverpool winning the league as a result. I don't know if that Sunderland won the championship, but I don't really know how the real league football works on this. But yeah, fascinating stuff. So many caps for the players that played a lot of games and had already played a lot of games for Germany, I suppose. Amazing. This is England, still got Gareth Southgate in charge after an impressive World Cup. They went all the way to the final only to be knocked out. I mean, this kind of shows how many games they played, because Henderson, I think, on real life going into the World Cup, 30. Well, I suppose at the start of the save, he probably only had about 30, early 30s. So he's played about 40 games this season, which is the same as a regular season, but 40 internationals in one season, essentially. Jack Wilshere played a lot, so he obviously didn't get injured this year. Kyle Walker's up there. Because remember, England players at the moment, they don't have many caps, so it just shows how many games they did play this season. We've even got Troy Deeney picking up 2 caps, Danny Ings as well, Damari Gray's picked up 3, so a few players from our other teams that you wouldn't expect to be in here did feature as well. It's really been absolutely fascinating, this. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Hope you guys did too. In the end, Germany went on to win it. I think it's a repetitive thing. I think if you continue into the future, then there's a World Cup every year. I assume it works. I'm going to do a second simulation on the first season and a third simulation on the first season, just to see who wins it, see what the differences are. But perhaps after that we could holiday quite far into the future to see what happens with this database. Let me know if you're interested in that. I don't know if... Oh, here we go. Best Player Award. Yeah, this exactly highlights... I can take away the black thing now, can't I? There we go. See what you mean? It says holders Germany, so that would have given it away. But yeah, this really highlights how many games they play. Griezmann was the top performing player across the whole World Cup. He scored 45 goals in 43 games, 14 assists, very strong average rating. Harry Kane second, 42 games, 47 goals. Not such a good average rating, which is probably why I didn't pick up the best player. Ousmane Dembele had a great tournament. Looking at the Golden Boot, it was won by Cristiano Ronaldo, who scored 53 goals in 30 games for Portugal. That is insane. Meaning he's ended on 124 goals in 168 games for Portugal right now. He's picked up a broken ankle. 2 to 4 months out. I don't know if that had an impact on Portugal's latter state. In fact, they were knocked out before the last rounds, weren't they? He's only picked up 30 appearances. That is incredible, really. He only played 30 games. And he got the Golden Boot compared to Harry Kane with 42. Messi probably didn't feature at all because Argentina always play Messi in central midfield on this. Let's go and have a look. Let's see how he got on. Don't know if it will show. He's currently got 74 goals in 143 games for Argentina. Internationally, 16 goals in 25. How far did Argentina get? I can't actually remember. They did get to that 6th round. But he only played 25 games according to this, so perhaps he was injured for a while. That could be a possibility, of course. Harry Kane was second top goal scorer, Griezmann third. Best goalkeeper went to Neuer. Doesn't show anything there for some reason. Best young player was Mbappe for France. The dream team of the World Cup, classic 4-4-2. We've got a couple of Italians in there, Germans. Ryan Bertrand at left back, of all people, 44 caps during this tournament. Goal of the tournament. I wonder if we can see that. Let's have a look. Oh, we can't. That's really annoying. It's not saved it. But apparently, Jonathan Fort for Barbados scored the goal of the tournament on the 20th of August against Venezuela. This is the chap that scored it. He looks incredibly happy. Loving life. So there we go, guys. That's the end of part 1 of this experiment. I hope you enjoyed it. We ended up with Germany as world champions, technically retaining their World Cup title, I suppose. But join me for parts 2 and 3, where I'm going to do the same again, but we'll see if there's many differences. Until next time, enjoy FM18, enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you very soon.